steel, and blood. The last ride of Nick wasn't supposed to end up like this. He used to be just another tow truck driver grinding the streets of Toronto, hustling for crash scenes, bribing night shift cops for first calls, battling the ice-slick roads along the Gardiner Expressway. But after moving out of his aunt's Rosedale mansion, a white-columned house where his HVAC tycoon uncle ruled and money dripped off the walls, Nick had nothing but anger and a 12-ton wrecker to his name. His brother Zimothy moved out with him. Zim was a maniac, pure and simple, a mobile mechanic by day, fixing flat tires and dead batteries from Scarborough to Mississauga. At night, he became something else, a killer, a thing that smiled when bones broke. And then there was Va, Zim's girlfriend, tiny, twisted, a face like an angel but a mind like a horror movie director. She was the spark to every fire they lit. The three of them lived in a filthy walk-up off Kipling Avenue, running hustles, plotting bigger moves, until the tow wars started getting bloody. In Toronto, crash scenes meant cash. The faster you got there, the bigger the payout. But there were too many trucks now, too many drivers stepping on Nick's turf. And Nick had an idea. A bloody one. The setup. They picked their target carefully, a heavyset guy named Ronnie, a rival driver from Jane and Finch, who had been snagging high-end wrecks from Nick's territory. It was simple. Va flirted with Ronnie at a gas station on Islington and Rexdale BLVD, convincing him to meet her after hours for a drink at a nearby abandoned warehouse, the old freight yards near Albion Road. Nick parked the wrecker in the darkness behind the building, engine idling. Zimothy crouched in the shadows with a heavy steel breaker bar in his hands, breathing slow and steady like a hunting animal. The night was cold. The air smelled of diesel and rotting garbage. Ronnie pulled up in his rusted Ford F-450, headlights slicing through the fog. He got out, grinning, one hand nervously adjusting his belt. "Where's the girl?" he called out. Va stepped into the flickering light, smiling sweetly. Behind her, Zimothy moved, silent and fast. The breaker bar came down on Ronnie's skull with a sickening crack, folding him onto the cold pavement. Nick was out of the wrecker instantly, dragging Ronnie's twitching body onto the truck bed like hauling dead cattle. Blood pooled and steamed under the night sky. They worked fast, like a pit crew of killers. Nick hooked Ronnie's truck to the wrecker's winch, staged it like a simple highway crash gone wrong, then rolled Ronnie's body into the driver's seat. Zimothy doused the interior with a can of gasoline. Va lit a cigarette, kissed Nick on the cheek, and flicked the burning butt into the cab. Whoomp! The truck went up in a fireball, heat washing across their faces, painting the warehouse walls orange. They sped off down Albion Road, laughing as sirens howled in the distance. The fallout Toronto police found Ronnie's charred remains the next morning. It made all the news channels, even the major ones like CTV News Toronto and CP24. Tow truck turf wars, new violence shocks officials. Investigators whispered about the brutality behind the scenes, about how the accidents were getting way too clean, way too targeted. But Nick didn't care. Business was booming. Other drivers got scared. They stayed off his blocks. For a few weeks, Nick ruled the West End wreck scene like a king. Until one night, the night everything went wrong. The sting. It started like every other night. A fake 911 call to lure a driver into a dark spot, this time under the Kipling subway overpass. Nick drove the wrecker. Va rode shotgun. Zimothy sharpened a knife in the back seat. The plan was tight, clean, no evidence. But as Nick pulled into the designated spot, he saw it. A dark shape under the bridge. A tow truck, lights flashing weakly. Too easy, too perfect. And that's when the floodlights hit them. "Police! Don't move!" Unmarked cruisers roared in from all sides. The rumble of boots, shouts, red dots from rifles danced across the windshield. Nick gunned the engine. The wrecker roared forward, smashing through two cruisers, sparks flying. Va screamed in excitement, climbing into the back with Zimothy. Bullets slammed into the truck's steel frame. Nick swung a wild left onto Dixon Road, tires shredding, police SUVs swarming behind. The chase tore through the city like a wildfire, past burned-out strip malls, crumbling motels, and grimy 24-hour diners, the dirty underbelly of Toronto flashing by in a blur. The end. They almost made it. Nick made it all the way to the Gardiner Expressway, roaring eastbound at 160 km/h, downtown Toronto's glass towers glittering ahead like cold stars. But fate had other plans. At Spadina Avenue, an officer threw down a spike strip. Nick hit it full speed. The wrecker skidded, tires exploding, sparks shooting 20 feet into the air. It spun once, twice, slammed sideways into the concrete median. In the chaos, Zimothy stumbled out, screaming, charging the cops with a knife. They shot him dead on the spot. Va tried to run, sobbing and bleeding from her face. She was tackled hard onto the asphalt. Nick, broken, bloody, pinned under the steering wheel, could only laugh. A hoarse, rattling sound as the police dragged him out and slapped cold steel cuffs on his wrists. His kingdom of wrecks, blood, and fear, all over in seconds. The city of Toronto rolled on without him, uncaring, unstoppable. Nick's story was just another headline by morning. Tow truck killer kingpin caught after citywide manhunt. Another ghost swallowed by the streets.